Hello and welcome to HawkTalk. It's my Hawk Culture podcast where we talk about geek stuff, nerdy stuff, and all sorts of awesome. My name is Danny Shepard, and joining me is Jeremy Lee.
That young. I still don't know what it means.
Me neither. And we have a special guest here today for this week's episode. We don't have a Nolan and Tony, but we got something just as good.
Just as good.
Sean Finnegan from IGN.
A ringing endorsement. Just as good.
Just as good.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Some would say maybe better. Some would say not. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you guys for having me. I am very pleased to be making my debut on this show. Listen all the time. Big fans of these guys.
Long time coming, and you listen all the time. Oh my gosh, why?
That's unfortunate.
Well, I got to do
I
my
didn't know
homework.
that.
I got to know what y'all are up to.
Oh
Okay.
gosh.
Yeah.
You're so.
It's
the
so
thing,
far in between when we get to see you, I feel.
It's true, but although whenever we do hang out, it feels like not a lot of time has passed.
Yeah.
Like we know a lot
That's
of
the
time
best
has
part.
passed. Yeah. But like just a few weeks ago, we were out, you had come out to visit San Francisco, and like what we had planned to be a pretty like low key night ended up being an unexpectedly epic night that ended at like 5 a.m.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was cool. You missed
apparently,
out.
Jeremy's night was even longer.
Oh, it didn't end?
No, it did not for
No
me. I
way.
did not tell you this
Yeah.
story. Oh, man.
Wait, so what happened beyond Tim's place?
So I was out in San Francisco, by the way, for Fred.
Helping
Fred move out there because I wasn't going to let him drive out there by himself. So, we kind of buddy system, So Fred was crashing at Sean Pitt's place, who also happened to be roommates with like 3 other people.
And
in the
Sean
same-
Pitts is on the social media team at IGN as well.
Yes. So their place is in the Richmond district, and 5 different people are in that place right now. And I was like crashing at the foot of Sean's bed on an inflatable mattress. So 5 people, their place, not my place, not Fred's place. Fred doesn't have a key. Fred, so 5 a.m. we left Tim Getty's place.
Tim
Sean-
Geddes of Kinda Funny.
Yep.
Tim Geddes of Kinda Funny. So Tim's place, we were just hanging around. It was just us 3. And you had gone home, right?
Oh,
Right
yeah.
after?
I just left Tim's place and went home.
Yeah. So, and Tim was obviously already home, so he just went to bed. He had to actually leave for, what was it?
Yeah,
for
some
LA,
early thing. Yeah,
the
next
Let's Play
day.
reunion.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was. And he had to wake up for that. So it was 5 a.m. Keep in mind, 5 a.m. San Francisco, there's nothing open. It's not like Vegas where it's like 24 hours.
Yeah.
I got in my Uber. So this is the first thing. I got in my Uber, put in the address, and Uber picked me up. 20-minute ride. I got out of the car and I stood there for a sec and I looked around. Does not look familiar.
This is not the location.
This is not right. And I checked the address and I realized, oh crap, it was street, not avenue.
Oh, no.
There happens to be the same exact address on both street and avenue versions of it. So I was like, crap. I checked the map, 30 minutes away.
Yeah, like where did you
opposite
go?
Side.
Are you still in the city, though? Are you still in San Francisco?
Honestly, I don't know.
Oh my
It
gosh,
was like
that's so
the
funny.
south side, like maybe east of the airport.
Okay.
I made the
airport.
same mistake my first time going to. I was going to IGN. I was going to IGN to record Up at Noon with Greg Miller, and I put in the address, and the driver took me to the opposite side.
Yeah, it was the
of
opposite
the bay.
end.
Yeah, and it was like, or opposite side of the city, not the bay. And I was like, oh. I was like, this does not look like it. That was like, there's like construction and these giant beams and stuff. I was like, this looks super urban. I don't think IGN is here.
Right.
And so they had to take me to the opposite side.
Yeah,
so same thing happened to me.
Yeah, same thing happened here.
in San
So
Francisco.
30-minute ride and had to wait for the Uber. So by the time I got back to the place, it was already like 6 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
So 6 a.m. Still dark outside, I get up to the door and I realize, oh crap, I'm not actually like a resident. I don't have a key. They don't leave the key out under the mat or anything.
Yeah.
So and everyone is asleep. The house is dead quiet. So Fred is sleeping on the couch with Danny Juarez, who was also crashing there too, which they're all roommates now, which is dope, by the way. The couch is in the living room, which is connected to the hallway leading to the front door, right? So if you guys are familiar with like San Francisco architecture, it's like old style country homes, basically, with a little mail slot on the door. So if you open up the mail slot, I can see Fred lying on the couch.
And you're like,
right there.
Fred.
So I tried calling him 7 calls, and he does not budge. And I know Fred is a heavy, heavy sleeper. So I open up the little mail slot. I'm like, Fred. And I'm like trying to whisper, but yell and try to get him up. But like Fred's lying there, but there's a bedroom right here. And like, obviously, if I'm too loud, I'll wake up everyone else in the house too.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm stuck outside. And this is a few weeks ago or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
At that point. And it's already getting cold in San Francisco. So it's like below 50.
Yeah.
Like below 60 at this point at 6 a.m. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what do I do? You know what? I know Fred will eventually just wake up or someone will. So might as well just chill out here. And this is on the 2nd floor of like whatever complex this is, you know? Like the houses are built on top of each other, right? So there's a house on the bottom. You go up the stairs, there's a house on top. So I ended up chilling up there at the top of the stairs for like 15, 20 minutes. And I looked around, sun starts coming up, and you know what? Maybe I should just go for a walk, sober up. Walked downstairs and just walked around the block, just chilling. And then came back to the front door at like 7:30 a.m.
Oh my.
And Fred texts me, or like I get a ring on my phone, and I look at it, and it's from Fred. It's like, oh shit, where are you? And I'm like, I'm outside the door, dude. And he opens the door, and I'm just smiling. Hey, Fred, what's
up, man?
What's
what
up?
a night.
What a night. And he was just like, that's
awesome.
such a Jeremy Lee thing to say.
I told you when I left, I was like, you want to come crash at my place? And you're like, nah, it's all good. And I was like, all right, man.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't open
That's
the
so
door.
funny.
I didn't have a key.
That was an unexpectedly epic night,
Yeah.
which I love about you guys because like I think every night that you guys come out to hang out in San Francisco, it ends up being something like that.
Yeah.
It's got to be, man. We don't see you very often.
Yeah,
we got
it's
to make
true.
every night memorable.
It's
Also,
so cool.
yeah, I mean it's cool catching up with you guys, and then obviously like we have so many of the same interests. It's easy just to like shoot the shit and hang out as we were doing earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were supposed to record the show like 2 hours ago, and we just ended up sitting here talking about movies for
As
2 hours, and we didn't record it at all.
But we're trying to do that now.
So we're doing it now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just dive right in, I guess. Sean, before we actually get started, do you actually want to kind of explain who you are and what you do?
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Sean Finnegan. I'm a producer at IGN on the branded content development team. I co-host Fireteam Chat on IGN, which is a Destiny show if you're into that video game. And then I also am like the 5th seat, we call it, or if you're a basketball person, 6th person on the,
Yeah.
right up, first person off the bench, 6th man, for a show called Podcast Unlocked, which is our Xbox show. So you may have seen me on camera over there, but mostly I'm like a director and a producer. I make videos for IGN. I've been working there for about 6 years now. I got to know Danny back in 2013 when he came and guested on Up at Noon, back when it was still hosted by Greg Miller, which is an IGN talk show. And you came to promote Nightwing, which was awesome. And I didn't know who this kid was at the time. And in fact, I thought you were one of the audience members. But you were just standing in the studio while we were setting up, and I was like, Greg, who is this guy?
Who is
And he was
this
like, that's
weird
Danny.
little
He's
kid
like our
just-
guest. And I was like, that's our guest? Like, okay, cool.
Who is he? Nobody important. Still no one important.
But then
Cool.
I saw your work and I instantly became really big fans of you guys because, you make a lot of the same stuff that I like in terms of like pop culture and in terms of filmmaking and action filmmaking. And like, so you guys are kind of like, I would call y'all kindred spirits.
Kindred spirits. I like that term.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Are you allowed to say why you're here?
Yeah. Well, I'm here working on a project with the Ismahawk dudes. It features Danny. Keep an eye out for it on IGN.com in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Super cool. We're very grateful to Sean and IGN for the awesome project that they're working on with us. And we can't wait for you guys to see it. And hopefully you guys like it. So definitely check it out. It's going to be on IGN. So let's talk about some movies, man. So
Let's do it.
I know that I guess the team discussed Blade Runner
Last week.
2 weeks ago, and I wasn't
2 weeks
here.
ago.
I was at the Thor Ragnarok premiere.
2 weeks.
and I'm gonna keep
He
dropping
was at
that.
a movie premiere.
Because I was at a red
This
carpet.
guy, yeah.
I was at a red carpet premiere.
This dude.
No, yeah, shut up, as if you haven't been to a ton of red carpets and met more celebrities than me and him will probably ever meet.
Sure, but I just don't drop it in the middle of a show.
Yeah, well, maybe you should. But I didn't get a chance to talk about Blade Runner.
Yeah.
I'm the only person here who talked about it on this show.
Well, for the
So you
audience,
too.
like, I don't want to retread old ground, but like, we can talk about it a little bit. I really liked Blade Runner. I'm a huge fan of
original or
the
the-
well, 2049.
Well, okay.
Yeah. Huge fan of the original Blade Runner. I think maybe it's definitely up there with some of my favorite sci-fi stuff.
Yeah,
Not
it's the
even
best
just
cut.
movies. The best cut, the final cut, probably. I also really like the director's cut. I own. This
Which
a
one
funny
is the
story.
one that everybody hates? The
theatrical? Yeah.
Theatrical. Funny.
I mean, it's really bad. Oh, it's not really bad. It's just not what the movie was intended to be. And now it feels very dated. But anyway, I own 5 versions. I own 5 copies of Blade Runner.
Wow.
It's because I was a huge fan of the original, so I bought it like on
Yeah.
DVD and stuff. And then they released the final cut, and then there was the director's cut. So I own both those versions individually as well. And then there was the 20-year anniversary DVD
Yeah.
edition, and then the 25-year anniversary. And now there's the 30th anniversary collector's edition on
Yeah.
Blu-ray. And so I bought those. So I own every one of those versions. And it was just because you want to own, I am a big film buff.
Yeah.
I want to own the definitive version of one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But for every 5 years or so, it changed, like the definitive edition. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you need this version. But now the 30th anniversary Blu-ray edition has it has all 5 cuts of the movie.
Oh,
so now
you
I
can
have
pick your cut?
Yep. Like
That's
I've watched all
amazing.
of them. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, so the theatrical cut is the worst one.
Yeah, that's the one that has like the Harrison Ford VO.
Yeah.
And none of the cuts where like Edward James Olmos' character like is making any of the origami. Like all that's cut out. So all of the really cool and ambiguous implications that Deckard is a replicant are just totally removed from the movie. And instead there's just this really one-note VO from Harrison Ford that he totally phoned in because
Yeah.
he hated it.
Yeah.
That accompanies the movie, and it ends with a very Hollywood. The couple gets together and then they drive off into the forest and live
It's
happily
like
ever
almost
after
a last
ending.
minute change.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Because the studio was like, we need to make this more audience friendly
Yes,
for this states.
they didn't think the audience would understand it. Anyway, that's the theatrical version, and that's what people saw when Blade Runner came out in theaters. I don't think we'll ever. I think we're kind of past the point where movies would do that anymore. Like you'll never see a director's cut of Blade Runner 2049 in theaters or anything like that, which is interesting.
In theaters, probably not, but
Mhm.
in
I mean, unless you're a DC
VO
movie.
yeah,
Or a Marvel movie, there are no director's cuts of that either, right?
not that I've seen.
Yeah, like on
Not that I
Blu-ray
know.
editions
I
and
mean,
stuff.
there's a director's cut of every DC movie
Mhm.
except for Wonder Woman. There's no extended
Interesting.
cut of Wonder
Maybe-
Woman.
Is that on Blu-ray or DVD yet?
Every cut of a Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
Maybe
I
it depends
wonder.
on the filmmaker.
Excuse
Yeah.
me. I also wonder what the difference nowadays is between like what I wonder if the moniker director's cut is just being used to indicate a cut that just has more footage, right?
Yeah.
Not different storytelling or different aesthetics or different like treatment, but just like it has some of the deleted scenes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're calling it the director's cut.
They've been calling
I
that
don't know.
extended cut, though. I mean,
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
That's
Is
what
like I
it
think
feels
there's like there's maybe a misconception as to what these things should
Being
mean
used
or what they are.
interchangeably.
Yeah, when maybe it shouldn't be. But I don't know. To get back to Blade Runner 2049, I really, really liked the movie. I thought Ryan Gosling was awesome. Also, that jacket deserves a supporting
yes.
a supporting actor award.
I
from the
want
Oscars.
that jacket
Dude,
so bad.
yeah.
I kept thinking that the entire movie. I'm like, I want that jacket.
Yeah,
The way they
jacket's
made
killer.
that jacket look too. Anytime he spins around, and pulls out a gun.
Yeah, and also he has like regular mode where it's down, and then he has
Yeah.
like incognito mode where it's like half his face. Like that's really cool.
yeah.
When they said it was green, I was like,
Yeah, I did not know it
Yeah.
was green at all.
when they said it was green, that was almost like that was more shocking than the actual twist in the movie.
I was like, whoa.
I was like, whoa, that jacket's green? And I actually
Man in
got
the
an
green
audible
jacket.
response from me.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, huh, it's green.
I don't know that I like it as much as I like the original Blade Runner. And we talked a little bit about this off camera, but just like I love how the original Blade Runner is filled with this ambiguity that makes you question what the essence of humanity is, right? It uses a replicant's story to make you think like about what the distinction is between humans and replicants.
Yeah.
And
What
here
makes
you don't
human.
Yeah, and here you kind of don't get that sort of philosophical, intellectual thoughts. It's much more a visceral sort of agency-driven thing. Like, they clearly state up front that Kay is a replicant and that we're in a society now where replicants exist and people know they exist. But the only reason that society is set up and works is because they're made to be subservient and only exist that way. But as he gains agency and starts to disobey the rules, essentially, that makes him more human-like. And I think that is a cool
we're going to talk
thought.
about spoilers, guys, by the way. Spoiler alert for Blade Runner 2049. If you don't want to hear spoilers, then skip to a point in the episode that Jeremy's going to leave a link in the description.
So far, we really haven't hit that many spoilers.
But just in case we do.
Yeah, totally. In fact, we haven't hit any. But
Yeah.
and I'm generally really good about that because we have to do it all the time at IGN. Anyhow,
We are not as good.
Really? You just dive right in? Yeah, I think I like the performance. It's beautifully shot, you know. I didn't really... It just didn't really like connect the way the first one did for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think just based on changing times, because this is... And you kind of get the feel of it with the premise of the movie being set 30 years later anyway, and the way the production design, the way that the environment has ravaged LA and the world in that universe has changed. So I think the themes that are being played on in the original movie have changed to something different in this movie.
You're totally right.
I was actually talking to Noel about this the other day, where Noel is not a big fan of Blade Runner. Like, he appreciates the art and the
Everything
making of-
else but the story.
Yeah,
basically.
everything else but the plot.
The
plot. But he appreciates all the themes that are being played and, you know, like the world and universe being built. And one of the things that I was telling him, he was asking me why I think people like Blade Runner, why I like Blade Runner, is because the original is playing on the themes of humanity, like what makes you human. And drawing from like Philip K. Dick's novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Like, are there ghosts in the machine? Is there consciousness in a machine, like something artificially created? And the original definitely plays a lot with like what our consciousness is and asks questions about what humanity is.
Yeah.
While the new one, I think, is more in line with today's kind of, I guess, movements, like civil rights movements, and the distinction between like who gets, like who, like, do we treat everyone like a decent
Is there a
human being?
superior being?
Well, just like that's why you're absolutely right. Like, I think that thematically it hinges upon the idea that one's humanity is derived from their ability to control or choose things for themselves, right? Like, it becomes more human. Like, Kay becomes more human as he takes control of his own agency and starts doing things according to what he thinks is right.
Yeah.
Like, which is great, and I think that's definitely, like you said, more indicative of our time, like the zeitgeist of right now. But just like, it lacks that one or two or three extremely visceral gut punch emotional moments that made the original connect with me so much. Like, there are these deep philosophical themes about what is human, but in the end, what hits that home is this awesome half improvised monologue from Rutger Hauer, where he's like, what to him in that moment, he is as human as any other human, because he's explaining to you like he's experienced things that no other human has, and that having that experience makes him unique and makes him human in a way.
Yeah.
And like, man, it just really, in that span of 3 sentences, I've been talking about a movie that is, I'm talking about a scene that is my all-time favorite scene, the Rutger Hauer scene in Blade Runner there at the end, Tears and Rain, of course. And I just don't know that this movie had that, you know, especially in the ending. Like, it ends kind of the way like a suspense movie or an action movie might end, you know?
Yeah,
and
I
just
totally get it.
Like, it didn't yet.
But it's a product of this time, this generation now.
That said, like, it's easy to sit here and criticize, right? But I criticize because I love it. And overall, I was super engaged. And for how long that movie is, like, it's really cool. And we're cinematography nerds, so, like, every frame is beautiful.
Dude, you think it's going to be Roger Deakins' year this year?
I mean, God, let 1 year be.
Just
let him win the damn Academy Award.
This
year.
year.
My God. This movie, I think, is groundbreaking in its cinematography. It looks incredible for a sci-fi
visuals
film.
In general.
Yeah.
Like its vision of its very highly compact and tall cities is like totally what, you know, the future should and would look like. I also love the bit where it's like they go to the waste district and it's like San Diego area. Like, of course, in the future, LA takes over all of California and then they put all of their trash in San Diego. Like, that is totally how it would work.
That's, you know, what I really love about 2049 is how seamless the visual effects are, because I don't know where the real life composite starts and like where it fades off into the visual effects.
Dude, I also love that they play a lot with your expectations of that. So like Joy, the character that is Kay's like AI.
Yeah.
There's a scene where, now this does get into spoilers, like there's a scene where he buys her an emanator and it allows her to come outside of his like apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
And the scene where she comes out and experiences the rain for the first time is super moving, and then she like shut down because she's too far from the Wi-Fi or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Like there's some glitch. And like Kay is just constantly being reminded that this AI isn't a real thing, but it plays on this expectation of like, you're still hitting that home, like around like every visual cue that Kay gets is like, you're not a real person. Like, real people are like experiences and love and like a connection with outside people and birth and like relationships. All of that is reserved for not you. And I love that because it's super dire and very like dystopian.
Do you think that's Kay's way of reminding himself that he's not human?
No,
I think Kay knows that he's not human.
Yeah, I think Kay knows that he's not human. And I mean, obviously, I think, he knows he's not human, but I think he
believes he's not human. I think I think that Kay believed that he wasn't human. He believed that, no, I am a replicant, I am below human. That's why at the beginning of the movie he was in the interrogation room or whatever, and he was just repeating the phrases or whatever to make sure he was like on baseline or whatever. He was on every single time because he knew he knows he's a machine, and that's all he is.
So he's complicit in his existence.
He's complicit
and his creation.
I think that Kay defines himself as a replicant. Like, we define ourselves, we are filmmakers. Kay is not a detective. Kay is not a police officer. Kay is not even a Blade Runner. Kay is a replicant. And in the beginning of the film, he's basically just like when his AI comes up to him and Joy comes up to him and like, you know, says something or whatever. What did she say? Something. And he was like, you don't have to do that. Yeah. Because he's like, look, well, let's not play. Like, you don't have to do that. But as he starts to like, there's a glitch in the system. He's like, wait a minute, am I real? And then all of a sudden everything changes and he stops believing himself to be a replicant and starts believing, am I alive? He starts asking that question, and then he starts experiencing love.
Do I have a soul?
Like, this is like, the more I think about the movie, the more I like it because of that.
Yeah, dude, it really explores those themes well. And I mean, gosh, like,
dude, you need to see Arrival.
Yes.
You haven't seen Arrival?
I haven't seen Arrival.
He hasn't seen any of Denis' films.
Very good. Really?
Yeah.
None of them?
Any of them.
No, none. This is the first one.
Whoa.
Damn.
This is a very Denis Villeneuve film.
Yeah. Like, what a way to start.
He has a very, like, methodical style that really makes movies, like, suspense. He does suspense very well, which is very cool.
Dude, Prisoners
is
so
awesome.
heavy.
Dude, Sicario, man. There was a shot in Sicario. Have you seen Sicario?
Not the whole thing.
Oh, man. So there's a shot where, not a spoiler, a team of like FBI like agents descend into like it's dusk/dawn, like that Twilight.
Everyone has seen that shot.
Yeah, and they like descend down a hill out of the twilight in which they are silhouetted into nothingness. And I remember I saw it with Nick, and Nick goes, "That's fucking awesome!" Like in theater, he had that
a
reaction.
shot.
It's an amazing shot,
Dude,
Nick
it's like
Scarpino, also from Kind of Funny.
Yeah,
Yes.
Deacon's at his best, man.
like twilight in the sky and then just black sky in night, so the sun has already been set for like a while, you notice in this kind of shot, and then it's just a field of grass on a hill,
yeah,
and then
with silhouettes, shadows of
Yeah.
these big military men with guns.
and you see these
walking.
silhouettes walking in, and you're like, oh, you see the silhouette of the gun, and you just get the mood of the whole scene.
And then they disappear. They literally disappear into thin air because they
Yeah.
walk down the hill and then they're behind the hill, and you just have this sky.
like
It's-
that's all practical.
Yeah, all practical. Like, you know how long they must have been out there waiting for the perfect sky
Oh, yeah.
and stuff? Like, that's so cool. But I mean, yeah, what a way to start. Blade Runner is a really incredible like achievement from him. And I think like, man, the task of taking on that movie, knowing the history that Blade Runner has with people and the director who did it before, and like it's one of
That's his first like big futuristic sci-fi thing,
Yeah.
other than like In Time. But like Roger Deakins has been.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, right?
I thought no. I thought you said I knew he shot In Time. I thought you were talking about Denis.
Oh no!
And I thought you were like, and I was like, Denis did In Time? Because like,
No, he did not
the
do that.
Justin Timberlake movie. Like, that's so cool. Which, by the way, really cool concept for a movie.
Oh,
Have you
brilliant!
seen that movie?
No, I saw the trailer though. I know what you're talking about.
It's awesome.
Like not a great movie, but
Yeah, but regardless, a great looking movie, obviously. But that was Roger Deakins' first like really sci-fi movie, and he was so excited because he's been wanting to do one for a long time, and then this opportunity popped in. It was like, yeah,
yeah,
like
The most stylistic movie he could ever shoot, Blade Runner.
yeah, right.
Unbounded too. Yeah, like that's so cool. The idea of a unbounded Roger Deakins. He's like, I don't know. I think he's deserved the Oscar many times. He's 14 times nominated, something like that, 13 or 14 times,
13,
and hasn't
14.
won. And let's be real, every year maybe minus like 3. He's deserved to win it, I think personally. The 3 times being the 3 times that Emmanuel Lubezki won,
Yeah.
because of course that dude deserves them.
Anytime Lubezki is in the running and Roger Deakins is in the running, Lubezki will win, just because for some reason Deakins must have pissed off someone on the Academy board.
But have you seen interviews with that dude? He's like
He's the nicest guy
most humble dude
ever.
Like they asked him, there was an interview where someone asked him if he was like, does it like, are you a little like salty about not having won an Academy Award and having been nominated so many times? And he goes, you know what? All of my peers and people in the industry say that my work has changed the industry for the better. I'm totally fine with that. He's like, I'd rather have that than a statue.
Yeah.
And I was like, what a guy. Because I'd
That's a
be
cool
like,
dude.
fuck yeah, give me the statue, man. Like,
No, people like have asked him about like, what do you think about people calling you a legend, like an icon, like a master cinematographer? He's like, oh, please don't.
yeah. What a humble British
Yeah.
dude.
Humble British dude.
Yeah.
So, what did you think about Jared Leto?
I just thought he was underutilized. Like, I thought he was really cool. I wanted to know more. Because they established right up front that like replicants are a thing and they generally exist like in sort of subservient roles or seedier roles. I found myself asking every time you meet a new character, like, is that dude a replicant or is she a replicant? And like when I came to Leto, I didn't really know. Like I thought maybe because they recognized the need for a subservient working class replicant force that they created a replicant whose sole job was to try and replicate the process that like the previous, I forget the creators.
7?
Yeah, but what was the creator's name? Tyrell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tyler.
Tyrell had been able to do. And I love this idea of like tasking a replicant to make replicants. And the reason he can't do what Tyrell did in creating like a replicant that's capable of birth is because he's a replicant and his own struggle. And now I'm projecting because none of this is in the movie. And his own struggle is that he deals with his own like ambition to be human by overcoming his own replicant form. I thought that would be a really cool story, but it's never really explicitly stated if he is or isn't a replicant.
Yeah.
And I know I've talked to a bunch of people who read it both ways. Like I kind of read that he was.
I read that he was human. I read that he was a human who thought he was God.
So that's the other thing is like it could just be, and in the opening crawl or like on the description, it says that he's an industrialist who took over what was the Tyrell Corporation after it went bankrupt and like shut down. But like, what's with the eyes then? Like, I read that he could see, like, look at replicants and like.
You can tell who's a replicant.
Yeah, or he can see their design and all that stuff. Like, I read that as he's a replicant. Like, that's what those eyes are.
The more I thought about it, the more it makes sense. I mean, it could be completely wrong, but like he was one of the older Nexus 8 models. Who has,
potentially, right?
Yeah, who circumvented that lifespan. So now he is on a quest himself to kind of like spread what he found. Basically, he knows that you can't keep replicants alive forever, but he can make a process where, like, it's kind of like teaching a man to fish.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what he's trying to do, right? As he says, like, we need to create more replicants, but he can't replicate the birthing process. So I thought that was a cool aspect of it.
It sounded like he was just an ambitious human. And I took that he was a human. I took that he was ambitious because he said, I put humans on like 9 different worlds because of our replicants and we need more. Like it seemed like his ambition was pushing him to inhumane acts, like starting to figure out ways to like to make more replicants doing things that are totally unethical or that would be deemed unethical in order to attain those goals. So I read it as like, incredibly ambitious.
I mean, I totally read that as well. I wish they'd done more with it, right? Like I thought it was so cool that first like replicant like creation scene where like his assistant sheds the tear and stuff, and he's like giving the monologue. I wish we had more of that. Like you get
at least a wrap up of his arc.
Yeah, like you get 2 kind of really big scenes with Jared Leto's character, and like I just wish there was more, you know, like because he seems like a really intriguing character. That was the other thing is like the first Blade Runner really benefited from this idea of Rutger Hauer's character Roy Batty as like the villain of the movie, right? And then it pulls this huge philosophical like pivot when it reveals to you that he's the hero of the movie. Essentially, this movie doesn't really have that because there's not a really clear antagonist, right? Like who. Like, what is the conflict preventing Kay from trying to get what he is? It's like an internal struggle, which is great. Those movies can be awesome, but like it would have been really cool if Leto could have like filled in that role. And he is antagonistic there at the end, especially with Harrison Ford's character, with Deckard there. But like that's one scene at the very end of the movie when he like brings out Rachel again and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I thought he was great. The character design was cool. Like I thought he was so intriguing. I just wanted
the
like
concepts are cool.
Yeah.
So is Deckard a replicant?
Still not clearly defined, right? Which is interesting because
still
like
debatable.
The movie, the original Blade Runner heavily implies that he is, right? Because like Edward James Olmos' character is making little origami figures and putting them down, much like he does to Kay. You notice that he does that to Kay in the first one? Like he makes like when he first talks to Kay when they're at the old folks home or whatever, he makes the little horse and he puts it down. And then what do you know? Like Kay has that vision of his childhood memory with the little horse in his hand. Like coincidence? Absolutely not, right? So that happens 2 or 3 times in Blade Runner in the first one, and it's Edward James Olmos' character again with Deckard. That said, like they don't say that he's a replicant. They don't say that Blade Runners are replicants. He's just like a cop, like a beat cop, you know, like a detective. And he hunts down Blade Runners or he hunts down replicants. And he seems to get his ass kicked all the time by them. So like he seems to be at a disadvantage, right? All in terms of the movie by itself, it's very self-contained. Like there's no explanation. Now, weirdly, like 20 years after the fact, Ridley Scott was like, "Yup, he's a replicant." After years of being coy about it.
Yeah, and then Harrison Ford was like, I played it like a human.
Yeah, and Harrison Ford was like, I don't think he is. And now we're just...
I thought he was a human. I've always thought he was a human. I even in the new movie, I'm like, he's human.
It's cooler if he's a human because I think the whole point, at least to me, thematically of the first movie, is that it hinges upon whether or not Deckard, a human, can understand that something not human, Roy Batty, is human, right? by virtue of the lived experiences he's had and stuff. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. The greatest monologue of all time, by the way. Side note, that's not objectively true. That's just me talking.
The comments just like, well, I disagree.
Yeah. You free to disagree.
No,
just
the
know that you're
monologue
wrong.
in The Incredibles is the best. You got me monologuing.
Oh, man.
You sly devil.
Where is my super suit?
Oh my god, the second movie. I
that
cannot
is gonna
wait.
be cool.
Dude, yes.
Which, by the way, talking about Jared Leto and Disney, Pixar, or whatever.
New news. Moving on from Blade Runner. You want to tell us what we read?
Actually, you want to tell us? Because you read the news to me, and I was like, whoa.
We read a really interesting headline today, which is that Jared Leto has confirmed that he's in talks and in development, active development of Tron 3.
Oh,
That's insane.
Which is so cool because I don't know how you guys feel about Tron Legacy,
Dude,
the one that came out recently.
I love Tron Legacy.
Dude,
I like Tron
It
Legacy,
is
dude.
very underrated. Like, I remember a lot of people saw it.
I did not
earlier.
expect you to feel this way.
This is not
I
the
don't-
popular opinion.
Oh, you mean you thought I would have hated it?
Oh yeah, totally.
No.
Knowing you, I totally thought you were gonna hate it.
Dude, everyone thinks I'm some pretentious film snob. That's not cool. I just like really cool stuff. And it is cool. Like, yeah.
I respect you, Sean
But your
Finnegan.
definition of cool stuff is a little different than most people. Or
Yeah, I mean, sure.
some people.
Yeah, sure.
Dude, Tron Legacy was sick. Okay,
Dude, it was
I
like-
like
it's
that
awesome.
movie.
It is like, one, the visuals and action are stunning. Like, it's really, really cool. Like, I think
That's how I remember the original Tron.
yeah, dude, like Joe Kosinski, that director, is one of the most underrated directors right now. Like, he has this really cool visual style and structure that is just uniquely him. Like, no one else can copy it. Excuse me. And he just like, I just didn't like, the script wasn't that great in that movie. Like, they could have done so much more. Like, like,
I think there's a distinction between liking the movie and it being a good movie.
totally. Although I would
Or a
say that
great
this is
movie.
still a good movie, right? Like,
There
I
are
think
awesome aspects of it, and I
There
feel
are
like it
very-
was.
I think
solid.
it's a well-made movie with cool stuff in it too.
true. Also, let's talk about the score, dude.
Oh,
Like,
dude,
yeah.
the music, dude. That kind of like
best.
started, maybe not, but like it's one of those movies that started the trend, or that was like, that helped hit home the trend of like big musicians coming in and doing
Yeah.
film scores.
Oh, that's so awesome.
yeah, like I thought that was really awesome. Like maybe that and like The Social Network,
Yeah,
right?
Trent Reznor did Social
Reznor
Network.
came in with-
Arcade
yeah.
Fire for Walter Mitty.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. So
No,
like,
no. Sorry, Arcade Fire for her.
Arcade Fire is
dude,
dope.
really? That's awesome. I love her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude,
saw the movie
Arcade Fire.
5
What a
times in
perfect
theaters.
match.
I love that movie.
Wow,
Wow.
5 times.
Her, that's one of the most like,
I love that movie.
it's one of the most smart and awesome and emotional movies like
Mm-hmm.
I've seen in the last decade. It's really good. But Tron, like
Mm-hmm.
the score is really good. It's beautifully shot. Like I like all of the characters minus like the main character. That's like he's kind of bland.
Okay.
Like I think
He's
a lot
very
of people,
vanilla for sure.
I think a lot of people didn't like how sort of vanilla he was because like the original Tron is about like hackers and counterculture in tech worlds, right? Because like back when the original Tron came out, like it was counterculture to be into computers and technology and stuff. Like that was kind of something I grew up in like the 90s, like in the 80s and 90s. Like it wasn't cool to be into video games and into computers and stuff. That was something you hid
Yeah.
from people.
I
It's
know.
different now. But like that's what that movie was based in, was this counterculture. And like the characters in Tron, the original Tron, very much embodied that. And here in this dude, Garrett Hedlund's like tall, white, great looking dude, piercing green eyes. Like there's no
Athletic.
way athletic.
Drives
like,
a
ripped-
Ducati?
Yeah, drives like he's
That
like
Ducati,
this,
though, that...
he's just very
Amazing.
clearly a guy who in that world would not have ever heir to like a billionaire corporation.
Yeah.
Like this is a dude who in the logic of the movie would not have faced an ounce of adversity in his whole life. And he's cast as like the savior of like a rebellion cause, like inside this thing that his father created. Like I just didn't really buy it. His performance is a little flat, but the idea of what happens in that movie and like
The concept.
the concepts, the action sequences, it's all really, really cool. And I just think people wanted to hate on it is all. I find it very, I find it like a really underrated movie.
Okay. I'd have to agree.
Yeah. So the fact that we're getting a new one,
Is Jared
Oh,
Leto
it's so
going to be
good.
the lead?
I don't know. It just says
He's
like the
involved.
article. Yeah. He was very coy about it. He says, I can bring up the quote, but he says that it's early talks and that like there's not much to say about it yet, but that he's involved in what they're calling development. So that probably means like there's still. If it's really early talks, there's probably not even a script. They're probably trying to find someone to write a script, but they know they want to do it.
Dude, that would be awesome. And if Jared Leto took over as the lead, I would be super on board with that. He's been supporting for the last, like, I don't know, a lot of major roles I've seen him in. He's just been supporting, so it would be dope to see him as a lead.
Dude, him and Dallas Buyers Club, holy crap.
Yeah.
Amazing movie. I don't know if you want to watch it. It's definitely not a feel-good movie.
Oh, it's
but
not.
It's pretty
Pretty
heavy.
heavy, yeah.
That's a heavy
It's really
movie.
good, though. Quote from Jared Leto, "It was a huge movie for me as well, and I do think there's so much potential in that world. There's so much left to be said," Leto said in an interview with Collider. "I'm absolutely game to try and help in any way I can to bring that to life. It's something that we're in discussions about and very much looking forward to bringing to reality. It's very early days, though." It says here, no writer or director is attached at present, although Tron Legacy co-producer Justin Springer is involved with Leto, and his partner Emma Ludbrook is also in talks to produce. So this is funny because like I didn't really actually see there being another one of these.
Yeah.
Because the first one didn't do well at the box office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they had greenlit
Legacy or
Legacy, yeah.
Yeah.
So they had done, not original is the wrong word, but they had done 2 sci-fi franchise-esque movies, Disney. They did Tron Legacy, and then they followed up a few years later with Tomorrowland, and both flopped. And then right after that, Tron 3, which was in talks to be happening, got canceled.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, that's it. Like,
We're never
obviously,
gonna see it
Disney
again.
doesn't believe in this. Like, they made 2 flops that are sci-fi like that in a row, so they're just not going to do it. They'll leave sci-fi up to the Guardians movies and stuff.
They
Right?
have
Yeah.
Star Wars.
And Star Wars, exactly.
Yeah, that'll be their sci-fi franchise.
Yeah, movies that are impossible to bomb.
Wait, but do you think it's a completely new idea that they're tossing around and just like starting from scratch?
I mean, it's so hard to say now, right? They're calling it Tron 3.
yeah.
So, like, maybe it is connected somehow, although that could mean nothing. Like, that's not an official title or anything.
Yeah.
I think because I've seen both Tron films and I liked both of them. I feel like if they went a completely different route with it, like a different direction with this Tron movie, I think that would be the best. I almost feel like calling it Tron 3 is not a good idea. Call it Tron something else, and like Tron Resurrection,
Tron
Future.
Tron
version 2.0.
yeah,
Tron 2.0.
yeah, Tron 3.0. So I don't know.
Tron.exe.
Nah.
EXE. So anyway, but like go a completely new direction, you know? Maybe show us what it's like show us the perspective of a program who lives within the Tron world at this point, you know?
That could be really cool.
And the grid.
The thing that I really latched onto from from Tron Legacy was like, so spoilers for Tron Legacy if you haven't seen it. When did that come out? 2010? Yeah. Like one of the really cool concepts that I latched onto is the character of Korra, who is like a sentient species that was birthed inside the digital like
Inside the grid.
yeah, inside the grid. So like she's a digital form, and then like to escape there at the end, like Garrett Hedlund's character like brings her into the actual world. Like,
How did that even work?
I don't know.
What was this?
How did he get it? How did he get in there? Right, just the
Well, yeah,
opposite of
I
that,
guess.
right? Like, but the
Changed the
idea,
polarity on the reactor.
but just like so in like when they're describing when Jeff Bridges' character is describing the possibilities that a digital form sort of brings in the real world.
Yeah.
And he's like, think about being able to regenerate limbs from code.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff, because it's digital, like digital body parts or digital like objects. I was like, whoa, that is really cool. Like I would love to see what like physical things look like digitally coded in this world. It's just like a really cool thing. Like we haven't seen that on film. No one's done that yet.
Yeah.
Like what would that look like? That could be a really cool new like visual aesthetic and also a
I
storytelling
think they
thing.
might hit on that a bit in Ready Player One.
Ooh,
Which, by the way, what do you think about Steven Spielberg doing Tron 3?
that would be awesome. I'm
Unlikely,
again,
I feel.
Steven
Very
Spielberg-
unlikely.
Steven Spielberg gets a pass from me forever of all time. He's made some of
Yeah,
the
he-
greatest movies. Many of the
He
greatest movies of all
built
time.
my childhood.
Yeah, totally. That would be really cool. Although I'm really happy he's doing Ready Player One.
Dude, Ready Player One looks pretty neat so far.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
Everyone's
millennials,
gonna be
look.
saying the book is better though.
It's just like they say about everything.
I
that
get a
has
really,
book.
but the thing is, I talk to a lot of people who read the book, and about half of them think it's really bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, how
Okay.
about that?
Or like, not that it's bad, but that it's written like teen fan fiction. So not well
Got
written,
it.
and also that the character and the main character is terrible. I haven't read the book though. I'm just repeating what I've heard. Have either of you read the book?
No.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's just the circles that I exist in, but like some people think the character is like a weirdo and a terrible person and kind of a creep, and then he gets rewarded for that. And I'm like, okay.
Well, damn.
I
The
haven't.
movie isn't like that.
Well, I don't know. Who knows, right? Like, I don't think it will be, but
I'm sure Steven Spielberg will find a way to make it heartfelt.
yeah, I mean, I really hope so.
He probably looked at it and was just like, okay, I see the potential in this. Like,
Well, heartfelt is one of his strengths.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's his superpower.
Yeah,
being
I
heartfelt.
mean, my childhood is a testament to his heartfelt abilities.
Is John Williams scoring it?
Man, I don't know who posted this on Twitter, so I don't know where to give credit to, but somebody was like, I feel like the success of the Star Wars films, like half the success is due to John Williams' score.
Oh,
And I was just like, no, yeah, like half of it, for sure.
that score definitely.
Probably half of every movie John Williams has ever scored is owed to like.
Just
his
better
music.
Yeah.
because he made the music. Dude, John Williams is getting old. He's getting up there,
Yeah.
and
Hasn't
Scares me.
Hasn't he
it
been,
scares me to death.
Hasn't he been nominated for more Oscars than any other person?
I think
I
so.
think
He
that's-
holds the record for that.
Yeah. Like,
He's
I think it's
a-
like 80 or something.
He is a god.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that guy has. How many John Williams scores do you just have in your mind that you could just repeat? Just like the Hook theme, Star Wars,
Indiana Jones,
Indiana Jones,
Superman, Jurassic
E.T..
Park,
Oh my god!
E.T., Harry Potter, like,
Harry Potter.
like it just keeps going.
Yeah.
You know?
The list goes on and on of the iconic franchises, stories that he's told.
And multiple scores in each of those franchises.
Yeah.
Too. Like, what? He's on his
What a
8th
guy.
Star Wars movie.
What a guy, man.
Mad respect to John Williams, man. That guy is a legend. He is the definition of a legend. That guy, John Williams, has been
John
around.
Legend Williams.
That guy, he's been composing music since.
Like the 50s, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's had like a really, really long career.
He's had #1 hits before you were born.
Dude,
So-
he had #1 hits like for like 40 years
Yeah.
before I was born.
So, really funny story about John Williams. My little sister had a friend growing up, and her dad was a music guy. He was the chairman of music composition at USC for like 20 years. And he remembers a very young filmmaker coming to ask him if he would score his movie, and he turned him down. And he said no. And that person was Steven Spielberg, and it was Jaws, the movie that he was asking him to score.
Oh my god.
So my little sister's friend's dad was like, "No, I don't think that's really worth my time." Film student Stevie Spielberg, and
age of film students.
yeah, so he'll always tell that story at dinner, like, that John Williams wouldn't be anywhere if I had chosen to score that movie. And I'm like, I'm sure he'd still be somewhere, but
Nah, dude, he's
Still
too
really
talented
cool.
not be
Yeah.
anywhere.
but also the idea of Jaws not being the dun-
Yeah, it could be
dun-
completely
dun-
different.
dun- yeah, it's like kind of a crazy thought to me.
Yeah. Could you imagine any of those movies, like how they would feel if the score was different? It would completely change the
Change the
tone of the
vibe.
film.
Yeah, like, I mean, to me, the most I love Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park might be like Jurassic Park is the movie that made me want to be a filmmaker. Like,
Oh, yeah, there are definitely moments in there. I remember as a kid watching Jurassic Park, and I'm like, this is what I want my life to be.
Yeah, so
Real life
that's the-
dinosaurs? Fuck yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it captures your. At least when I saw it when I was a kid in theater, I saw it in theaters. It captured my imagination. Like during that 2-hour period that you're in the theater, you're like, "Whoa, dinosaurs are real!"
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like
and then you just hear that piano theme,
That
and your
theme,
heart
dude.
just
the soaring. Yeah, like
fries.
Jurassic Park, man, like it's lost. I hate it. I hate to say it, but like it's lost its soul. Like it bums me out that Jurassic World is like the second highest grossing movie of all time because to me it's not Jurassic Park, it's Godzilla. Like that movie is just big monster things fighting in the streets of this park. It lacks any of what made the original Jurassic Park so aspirational,
Absolutely.
like imaginative.
It's funny.
And part
we
of that
talked
is that
about
score.
this. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like we talked about this whenever Jurassic World came out, but like it's kind of heartbreaking to see it kind of just lose its soul like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I already knew that going into the movie
Same.
before it premiered. So I like honestly, when I went to that movie,
Yeah.
I was like, it's not going to be Jurassic Park. Just know that, and I just want to see
Yeah.
big dinosaurs fight. That's exactly
Same.
what we got.
I remember when that movie was coming out. I was like, yeah, Jurassic Park 2 and 3 came out before this. Those already stole the soul
Yeah, those weren't
of
that good
Jurassic
either.
Park 1. So Jurassic World
Wasn't going to happen for
wasn't going to have the soul.
And if it was going to happen, that'd be a pleasant surprise.
Exactly. I did not go in with that. And you know what, man? There was a character running away from a T-Rex wearing high heels, and she somehow outran it. It was pretty amazing.
Go back and watch that scene when she lets the T-Rex out for the first time. She's literally like 15 feet away from it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so she turns the corner and then we hard cut and she's like a mile away from it and leading it out into the whatever. Also,
6 steps and that would have bit her head off.
Also, yeah, like you're telling me the T-Rex cage is like right there outside the visitor center, like enough for her to run in heels to lead it in. Like it's nonsense.
Why didn't she
man.
kick off the heels? I can't.
This is
I hate it. That's
She
the
knows
one
how to
part
work
where
it.
I'm
it's
like,
the worst part
kick
because
off
that's
the heels. God damn it! No.
Oh my god,
She knows how to handle it. She's
Well, that
Yeah.
was
she's a clever girl.
clever girl.
that
I
must
just-
have been a nice thing for you guys to see that Noel just came and scared the shit out of all of us.
Yeah, it
And
was
that's forever
terrifying.
gonna live on camera. Damn.
I don't know. That's just like, to me, I don't want to touch this too much, but like to me, it's indicative of what it's like Hollywood feminism, right? They're like, she's this powerful woman who dresses nice and can be like in a position of power, and she can do all of the stuff that the guys do and do it in heels. When the heels is the last part of it. But they insisted on making a big deal about the heels. Even my mom was like, that's really dumb that she insists on wearing the heels and stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
But just like,
It's just reckless.
like-
You're running away from a freaking T-Rex.
yeah, that's just like,
dude.
that's like the last in a laundry list of problems I have with that movie. So it's not a big deal to me.
Dude, I went in and was like, if I see a bunch of raptors fighting a T-Rex, then I'm good.
Guess what?
Oh,
We
yeah.
got
And
that
guess what?
and more.
I got raptors fighting like a T-Rex raptor hybrid monster, and then T-Rex
Plus-
fighting.
a T-Rex plus a water T-Rex.
Yeah.
Plus
Underwater
a water
T-Rex.
monster that I didn't know was a dinosaur.
Yeah, I
Is that
get
a real
it.
dinosaur?
Yeah, it's a dinosaur.
That's amazing.
Maybe.
Is it
I
really
mean,
that
it
big?
might have not been in the same. So funny thing, we always see T-Rexes fighting like Triceratops and stuff. They're not in the same era at all. They're like 150 million years apart.
150 million.
Yeah.
Something in that range.
Yeah, some huge number. Dinosaurs were around for a real long time.
And that like plesiosaurs, the water thingies, they're definitely not in the same era either.
I just
Well, I mean, Jurassic World is bringing all the dinosaurs to one.
Do we have
time, so-
paleontologists out there? Please let us know in the comment.
If you're a paleontologist and you're listening to the show,
Yeah, what are you doing?
yeah, what are you doing? You're
you must
smarter
be
than that. You're
really-
better than
You
this.
must be really enjoying this conversation about dinosaurs.
If you're a paleontologist and you listen to the show, leave a comment below. Send us a DM.
I don't know, that movie.
You must be pretty cool.
If you're into watching, I don't know. To me, like Jurassic, yes, it's cool to watch big dinosaurs fighting, big CGI dinosaurs fight each other and wreck a bunch of shit.
CGI?
But to me, it's like the equivalent of watching like a YouTube video of just explosions. Like I'd rather just do that. Like it's the same, you know?
It's free if
free.
you do that.
Yeah, it's the same. Like it's just visual, like candy. Like
What did you think of
nonsense.
Pacific Rim?
So Pacific Rim, I thought was cool, but in a different way. Like it still is big robots fighting one another, but the thing that I really latch onto is the idea of drifting, like the drift, like going into a mental state where your brain is shared between you and another person. I was like, that sounds really cool. So that's what powers these robots, or that's what it takes to pilot these robots. They kind of leave it at that, right?
Yeah.
But at least there's like this cool underlying sci-fi idea that powers all of what we see in there. The new one doesn't look to be like that, but we'll see.
I don't know. I like Pacific Rim for a different reason than I like Jurassic World. Like Jurassic World is just seeing big dinosaurs fight. That's dope. Cool. It's just spectacle. Pacific Rim is such. See, Pacific Rim felt like it had soul because it had such an homage and such a like inundated in that kind of culture of giant robots,
giant robots fighting
like
giant
it's a kaiju
monsters.
movie. You know, like
Exactly.
there's a history there. There's like a tone.
It's got
and
that
a style
soul in it, that heart.
Yeah, that's what I think is. Don't get me wrong, viewers out there. I don't not like spectacle. I love spectacle. Some of the biggest Jurassic Park, the movie that made me want to be a filmmaker, has so much spectacle. It has it in spades. But like
one of the originals.
Yeah, but spectacle for spectacle's sake, that I don't like. That's just a Michael Bay movie. Like a bunch of giant robots like intricately destroying each other means nothing if I don't care about the robots or the characters who drive the robots or whatever, which in Pacific Rim, I think they do a pretty good job of characterizing the struggle of like, not so much the main character, but like the supporting character.
Charlie Hunnam.
Mako. Yeah. What's her, is that her name?
Mako, yeah.
Yeah. Like I thought her struggle.
Mako. If you're Charlie Hunnam, you overcompensate with your American accent.
Like I thought they did some interesting character work there, you know? We'll see what the new one how the new one shapes up, but
I think the new one looks cool. I said
in a kind of like Power Rangers way.
Dude. When I saw the trailer for the new one,
Totally.
I was like, oh my god, this looks freaking crazy.
Dude, I'm down with John Boyega anything. So.
Dude, the fact that John Boyega,
let's go.
The thing that I like the least about Pacific Rim is Charlie Hunnam as the main character. Mako was great, but like, dude, I gotta be honest.
Like Idris. Like he's really good too.
Idris Elba's so sick. He's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I love that John Boyega, his accent kind of mirrors Idris Elba's. The way he says apocalypse and the way he said a couple of words that Idris Elba's character said, it sounds like he is his son.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me stoked. I'm like, I'm more stoked to see what this character's arc is and how this story unfolds, and I really, really, really hope it's good. Please be good, Pacific Rim 2.
Honestly, I am too. Like, I thought a lot of people looked at the trailer and was like, that looks just like Transformers. And I'm like, again, going off what I just said, spectacle for spectacle's sake, I like spectacle if there's a soul to it, if there's a story to it. There is a chance that Pacific Rim Uprising is just that. It's a Michael Bay movie, awesome visuals, giant robots, cool fight scenes, with a great story that's wrapped up in John Boyega's character. So if it is that, man, I'll be all in for that. That'd be really cool. Plus, like in the original Pacific Rim, I thought they didn't do enough of like, so when Charlie Hunnam's character first gets into like Gypsy Danger, is that what it's called?
Danger.
Yeah.
I like cool names.
Yeah, they do have really
Ridiculous
cool names. One of the really cool things I didn't think Pacific Rim dove into enough was when Charlie Hunnam's character first gets into Gypsy Danger and goes out into the field and sees all these other skilled pilots who have like their own fighting style. Like there's this one that has 3 pilots.
Yeah.
And they're like the Japanese brothers and they have this cool fighting
I think they
style.
were Chinese, right?
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, they were
some denomination of Asian.
Yeah.
But like, you know, they have this cool fighting style and there's 3 of them and their robot has a 3rd arm. Like their Jaeger has a 3rd arm. I was like, I want to know more about those dudes. Like that sounds awesome. Like this
triplets.
Yeah, Pacific Rim Uprising seems to be like they're going to focus on whatever it is, 5 or so main characters, right? Led by John Boyega. And I really hope that each one of them is like very different and it mirrors like their fighting style and their Jaeger. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Those are cool character development traits that if you guys don't know, like in film theory, I guess, or like film production, like you have these supporting characters who have these physical traits or like visible traits that you see that you can infer what their story is, and it makes up for it in your mind, so you don't have to spend a lot of screen time on it. Same thing in Pirates of the Caribbean, where Davy Jones's crew, if you look carefully at each character, and they spend a lot of time in the concept room for this, where each character has their own kind of like theme or story behind it just based on their character design itself.
So cool.
Yeah.
The things you can do with time and money.
Yeah, right?
Yes. On that note, we should probably close it out. Sean, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you guys
so
for
much,
having
dude.
me, man. It's always fun to come and talk movies and stuff with y'all.
Yeah, we got to have you on more often. Hopefully,
Whenever you get the chance.
yeah, whenever
to come
you're in
out here.
Vegas, obviously
yeah.
this is the thing that needs to happen, and we'll make sure to include you in a vlog next time we go to San Francisco.
Sounds good, man.
be
dope.
You guys are always
Francisco.
welcome in my town.
Yeah. Thanks, dude. Thanks for welcoming us into San Francisco.
Yeah,
You're the
because if you
mayor.
weren't welcome, you couldn't. If I didn't personally welcome you,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to come.
No,
to
we
San
would
Francisco.
never go.
No, that's
there.
why I've never been to San Francisco
I
until
am
you
the mayor
gave
of
the
San
okay.
Francisco.
You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Danny Lachette. Jeremy's at Jeremy Lee with 3 Ys. Sean, and you are
At Shop by Finnegan.
at Shop by Finnegan. Follow Sean. He's amazing. Check out the work he's doing on IGN. Check out Podcast Unlocked. Check out
Fire Team Chat.
Fire Team Chat. Check out.
I mean, I think that's it.
That's it. That's it. But
about
like
the list.
there's more stuff coming. I
Oh, yeah.
promise. It's exciting. All right, guys. We love you. See you later. Bye.